Hello, everybody. How is everybody doing? All right, good to see all of your smiley faces, or at least those of you who have your camera on. Good to see you guys. Nice. Randy Lee. Like all these familiar faces. You don't have to necessarily keep them on, but I like to see you guys. It's kind of lonely over here on this side of Zoom. Awesome. All right, we're just letting people jump in. Glad you guys are with me today. I'm trying to keep up with this monthly webinars. I made it a kind of a vow this year to create my theme of this year was value at scale. So I'm trying to give you guys as much as I can, and dedicating a monthly webinar training to you was one of the things that I was hoping to do, and I think I missed maybe one month. So far I'm doing okay. We'll call that a victory. So we're going to talk today about websites, which are very important to, I think, any business, particular in this very digital age that we're building off of. If you guys have questions, and let me break out the chat now. While I'm presenting, you can put any questions you have in the chat. I'm going to do my best to keep one eye on it, but if any case, at the end, I'm going to leave time for questions. And I have one of my partners in crime here, Ashley, monitoring the chat and is going to yell at me if I forget stuff, or don't see something. So, and you can put stuff in there. I'll try to get to it in real time. If I don't notice it, then definitely I'll get to it at the end. I'll leave plenty of time for questions afterwards. All right. So what I'm going to do is let's start by sharing here. So if you guys can see my screen now, just kind of throw it in the chat, throw a one in the chat, just so I know you can all see and hear me. You can see the screen. Should say building a better pet business website. All right, thank you, Nancy, Seth, Courtney, beautiful, awesome. Thank you, guys. All right, that means no tech issues, which I always like to stop and cheer for a second for that. Awesome. So this is what we're going to talk about today. All right, your website. Your website is, I think it's more important now than ever before, but I mean, it's always obviously been important, but it is a really crucial part of your digital assets. By the way, guys, make sure you mute yourself as you come in. You should be automatically muted, but just make sure as you pop in that you stay muted till the end. When we have questions, then you can obviously unmute and talk. All right, so let's get into this. Let's start, learning about why websites are important for you. So, do appearances matter? All right, that's the big question. Everyone is always wondering, do appearances matter? Well, here's a picture of my wife. She does not know I use this in my presentations, so do not tell her if you ever happen to encounter her. A number of years ago, we took our kids to Disney, and we woke up one morning, and that's kind of what I saw. Her hair was, she's got this like really curly hair, and it was kind of defying gravity and doing this really funky thing, which I thought was hysterical. She did not. Now, so do you think, not knowing my wife, that she went out for a day on Disney like that? Of course, you could probably guess the answer. She did not. All right. She, fixed her hair. We got dressed. We took showers and stuff. And then we went out in public. I find a lot of websites are kind of like that. They're not really thought out. They're just kind of thrown together. And that's the image that you're projecting to the public. And that is everyone in the public, potential clients, partners, collaborators, the community. So you really need to make sure that you're presenting yourself as good as you can in the public, because it matters. This can gain you or you can lose business because of this. So here's what we're going to talk about today. One, we're going to talk about what makes a good website, common mistakes to avoid, and I'm going to show you some website examples. We do a lot of website design here at Overdog, so I'll show you some of the examples that I designed myself or that our team has. And then at the end, if you decide it is ready for maybe a redesign, for you guys, I have kind of a special discount for you if you want us to help you do it. All right. Most of you may know who I am, but if you don't, because you may have just seen our ad for this and kind of to hop on and said, that sounds interesting. You might think, who is this weird fern guy and why should I listen to him? Well, my full name is Fernando Camacho. People got lazy around sixth grade and shortened it to Fern, so that's what I go with. I figure worked for Sting, Madonna, one name, Fern, I go with it. I kind of sum up what I do like this. I help dog daycare businesses attract, convert, and keep more customers without overwhelm or burnout by creating winning marketing campaigns and providing business guidance to build momentum as well as spark long-term growth. If I had to like encapsulate in a sentence kind of what we do at Overdog. I've written a bunch of books, including the Dog Daycare Marketing Blueprint. You can go on Amazon and you can find them. The way I kind of take that message and help businesses and people is through Overdog Digital, which is our agency just specifically designed for dog daycare and boarding facilities. A lot of you guys may have heard me from the podcast, the Overdog podcast. Thank you guys for listening. I love it. I think I just recorded episode 170 today. Pretty cool. So it's a free resource. Check it out wherever you find your podcasts. It's out on all the major podcast platforms, but a lot of good information on there as well. All right, so that's who I am. Now let's talk specifically about your website. So if you're not sold yet that your website's important and that you need it, and maybe you're a stats person, let's go through some numbers here. All right, it takes about 50 milliseconds, all right, for users to form an opinion about your website that determines whether they like it or not. So this happens very quickly. The digital realm is, everything happens very quickly. You don't have a lot of time, so that's why it's so important. 75% of consumers admit to making judgments on a company's credibility based on the company's website. And I bet you all do this. You come to a website, and if it looks outdated or not really designed well and everything, you're like, you know what, I don't know about this company. But ones that are designed really well, give a good user experience, it eases your mind, and you're like, okay, I think I'm in the right place. 88% of online consumers are less likely to return to a site after a bad experience. So a lot of research on this. If they click away, odds are they are never coming back. 50% of internet users say they won't recommend a business with a poorly designed website on mobile. Mobile is critical, okay? We're going to talk about that in a little bit, but it's very important that your website is really, really good on mobile over desktop. They're both important, but mobile is really important. 47% of users expect a maximum 2-second load time for a website. That is the maximum. That's how long it takes when they click to your website, how long it takes before the homepage pops up or whatever page they're going to. 2 seconds. If it's longer, you're in trouble. So you may have a website, you may have been using it for a while, and you may think, oh well, I think everything's great, I'm sure it's fine, but I'm here to tell you what you don't know can and will hurt you, because you may not realize the experience it's giving someone. You may not very often take the part of the consumer and see how they flow through your website and look at all that stuff. But I'm going to tell you that all that stuff you don't know can have a real big impact on your business. So when we talk about all this stuff today, I want you to really take an honest, good, hard look at it. And again, you have to look at it away from an owner and think of it as a consumer. And also, when you're just surfing online, all right, I want you to look, and when you come up on the websites, whatever you're looking up, wherever you're encountering, I want you to think about what your impression of it. How does it make you feel? What do you like? What do you dislike? All right, start looking at do your web surfing almost like a student. All right, because that'll help you realize what maybe need to be changed on your site. So you want to first get some sort of an honest assessment of your website. And again, you have to look at it not as an owner, but as a viewer or potential client. You got to kind of put away all the things about your business and try to come as a blank slate. You could get a website audit, go for like a professional to come in and do an honest audit. I'm actually doing one for a client later today. Just saying, okay, here's what I see. and here's the ways we can improve it. And the thing about a website is I feel like it's never done. I feel like whenever I used to redesign our own websites or one of my websites, as soon as it was done, there was things I wanted to change about it. So it's never going to be perfect. Don't try for that. That's okay. But it should always be an evolution. You should always be trying to constantly make little improvements over time. What I don't think you should do is get a website design, throw it up there, and not think about this stuff for like 5 years. This is because things change rapidly. So we want to make sure it's always relevant and working for you. So it's really about the feel. Okay, how does this website make you feel? You know, from a person who's just viewing it maybe for the first time, who's thinking about doing business with you. The website can cause a negative or a positive impression and cause them to either go further or to just say, I'm out of here. So it's pretty important. So the first thing we need to worry about is design, okay? You need an updated design. If your site was built 10 years ago, I got news for you, design trends change pretty rapidly, all right? So you can't, and a lot of times I'll look at a website or be doing a website audit and I can immediately tell it was designed 10 plus years ago just by the design style of it, all right? Things are always changing. So just remember, I consider your website your digital storefront, all right? So if you're, walking, if you're going to go to a restaurant and you go to a restaurant and the outside of it is kind of old and beat up, doesn't look maybe clean or whatever, are you going to go there? No. But if you see a restaurant that just looks really sleek, kind of really nice, it's going to entice you to go further. So think of your website as your digital storefront. And remember, people aren't just comparing your website to other pet resort websites. They're comparing it to everything online. So if they're searching for a bunch of stuff online, they go to a couple different websites, then they go to yours, they're automatically going to make comparisons to yours to all those other websites. So we want to make sure yours is not only a good pet resort website, we want to make sure it's a good website overall, all right? That way, no matter what they're looking at, it seems that, okay, this is exactly the kind of stuff that I'm looking for. If you design your website just by the design alone, it can position you as an authority and an expert in the site. Your perceived value, you can charge more if your site looks like it's worth it. Okay, people are always, I always say you're training the audience of how to perceive your business. All right, so if we show them this is a 5-star business just by the looks alone, regardless of what your service is, it's going to have a higher perceived value. All right, again, enabling you to charge more. If your website looks crappy or maybe not as good as it should, and you're charging premium prices, that's a disconnect, and it's going to make people question, I don't know, this doesn't seem like it'd be worth it. But just having a really cool, sleek design that functions well tells people, okay, this is a high-class place. All right, this is something that's probably worth a little bit more money. Okay, we talked about how important it is to look good on mobile. There's a difference between mobile friendly and fully responsive, right? And it's a very important distinction. First of all, always think, what I always say, it's always mobile first, all right? Most internet searches happen on a phone. Okay, I forget what the statistic was. I think it was like maybe 67%. It's only going to continue to go up and skyrocket. All right. We are a mobile culture, human beings. So we need to make sure your site looks awesome on mobile. Yes, desktop too, but mobile is more important because that's where most of your traffic is going to be. And I see a lot of these like templated websites like Wix or Squarespace or Weebly or something, those are like very basic website builders that don't have a lot of different functionality. And what happens is you click a button to make it mobile friendly and it just kind of squishes everything into a phone and stuff. Fully responsive means it dynamically changes based on whatever size device it's viewed on. So there's a lot of different size phones. There's a lot of different size tablets. What happened with a lot of these templated sites is they have a phone view and a desktop view. And if you're anywhere in between, it just kind of squishes it arbitrarily, and it doesn't always do that well, and your user experience isn't always really great. So when we're designing fully responsive websites, some things may be on mobile that you don't see on desktop and vice versa, just because of the user experience and how it shows. There are some like full like web banners, and like if people use like these big video banners, like they don't show well on a phone. So you have to do something different on a phone to make sure it's a good user experience, because it's very important, because you don't have a lot of time with them before they decide, okay, maybe this isn't, I don't really like this. You have much less margin for error with people on a phone because they are on the move. They're a little bit more impatient than they will be, if they're on a desktop, maybe in one place. When they're on the move and on the go, you have really less time and you can't really make any mistakes. Please, please, please remove clutter on your website. I look at some websites and more is not better. All right. I just see everything thrown in there. Okay. So actually, what I usually do when I'm looking at websites is, what can I remove? All right. Because we're always thinking of the user experience. How can I get people to see exactly what they need and what I want to show them to lead them down the path to becoming a customer? And people think I'm just going to throw everything at them. So they have all these things, and that is just confusing everybody. All right. And that's just going to tend them to look away. It has to be clear, concise. I always like, one of the benchmarks for like sleek modern design is Apple. Apple websites there's more white space usually than anything else. All right. And it's just very pleasing on the eye, and it tells you where you need to go. So white space is your friend. White space is just anything that's not content. So like all the on the slide, all like the blue and the white in the background, and that's all white space. You need space in between the elements. It gives the eye something, it draws the eye to the content, and it makes it easy for someone to know where to go. And that's the thing, you're leading with your content. If you use white space effectively, you're leading the eye exactly where we need them to go. So I think that's important. So please don't overclutter stuff. All right. Don't put stuff on there just for the sake of putting stuff on your site. A lot of people, I think, are just overcomplicating it. All right. Simple is good. Don't give people too many choices. This goes hands in hand with clutter. Like, this is why clutter is not good, because if you have too many things on a page or too many choices, it's been plenty of psychological studies on that. People choose to do nothing if they have too many choices. So you want to limit the choices on your site, again, because we're thinking, where do they need to go, and where do I want them to go? So it starts with your menu. No more than 5, maximum 6 menu tabs. All right. Now, in that, you can have like a services tab that then drops down to multiple services. That's fine. But your main menu structure, keep it simple. All right. I see some menus that are like 2 lines and there's just too much stuff there. All right. Clean it up. All right. Less is more. Pricing. This is more of a internal problem than, say, a website problem, but it resonates on the website, is that you need to limit your pricing options. I would have no more than 3 for any service. If you have 5 different boarding, pricing options, then they can pick 18 different add-ons. Like, that's going to overwhelm them. Okay. Simplify as much as possible. Again, making their choices easy. They don't have to weigh out all these choices and use all this mental bandwidth trying to figure everything out and decide what's best for them. So limit your pricing options. And again, leading them where you want to go. Okay, good. Sorry. Thank you, Ashley, for taking care of the chat. We want your website to be what I call customer centric. Now, what does that mean? That means your website, believe it or not, is not about you. It's got to be about your customers. All right. So when you're designing your website, the tendency is to make it all about you, because this is our business website. All right. Let's tell them everything we do. All right. That's great. But your website is not about what you do. It's about solving the customer's problems. So everything on your website should be designed that way. Right. And so what do I mean by that is, you want to aim for less features, more benefits. So instead of saying, our daycare yards, we have 2,400 square feet where your dog can run and play. People don't know what 2,400 square feet. They don't know if that's good, if that's bad, is that big, is that small? Do I like that? They don't care about the feature, they care what it means to them. So I might say we have 3 different large play yards, indoors and outdoors, where your dogs can do a variety of running around and experience a bunch of different environments or something. You can write better copy. This is off the top of my head. But you get the point, all right? I'm not just listing, we have this, we have that. This is what this means to you. So if you're looking at your website and it says, we have this, that's great. Then you ask the question, what does that mean? What does that mean to the customer? The benefits of what we want to do, that's what we want to put in the copy of the website. Okay, less features, more benefits. When I look at websites and do audits, I'm looking for how many times do we say we. If it's all we's and no you's, that tells me we're talking too much about ourselves and not explaining why it's important to the customer. So we want to kind of rephrase that and say, why is it important to you? Okay, not we do this, we do that, we have that. No, your dog will experience this. You'll love this. That is more about them. It's going to get them more excited about it. What you're trying to do is answer the questions that are in the viewer's head. So they came to your website for a reason. They came because they have a problem that they need solved. The faster you can show on your website that you can solve the problem, the better, because you have a limited time with them. We need to answer those questions so they say, aha, yes, this is exactly what I was looking for. So you want them, as they're reading your website, you want them kind of be like nodding, oh, yes, oh, that's perfect, yes, all right? So you're thinking about what questions are the customers going to have, and you want to make sure that that's reflected in your website. That's where they'll feel like I'm in the right place. This is perfect for me. And all the other thing you're trying to do, and this is what like all marketing tries to do, is overcome any objections. Like, why would they not do business with you? So, and you've probably heard this before. It's always the buts, oh yeah, this sounds great, but, and then they give you an objection. All right. So you want to try to answer those objections within your website so that there's no more buts. If there's no more buts, the next logical decision would be to do business with you. So make sure you're kind of putting that throughout your website as well. All right. We mentioned a speed stat of, here's a speed stat earlier. It is really important that your website loads fastly. Fastly, is that a word? Quickly. Here are some average stats, okay? 1 to 3 seconds, the probability of someone bouncing is 32%. All right, that's just, you can't, 1 second, what are you going to do? I mean, there's no way you can improve that. But so that's just like how impatient people are online. 1 to 5 seconds, you're looking at a 90% bounce rate. 1 to 6 seconds, see, it keeps going up. The more seconds that you have, the higher the bounce rate, basically. So you want to make sure that your site loads very quickly. All right. So some ways you can increase your web speed is number 1, get a good host. All right. I will say one of the notorious slow hosts is GoDaddy. If your site is hosted on GoDaddy, by default, it may be a little slow. They are historically known as being a little slow. So having a good web host with really fast servers was one way to help that. Size images appropriately. So if you take a picture with your phone and you have this high resolution, what's going to happen is that huge file is going to have to load every time someone refreshes the page. So that's going to drag if you have a lot of images, that's going to just drag your speed down. Or like a large video. If you have a large video, that's going to happen as well. So watch out I see some people have this large banner video, and I'm just thinking, I can't imagine how big that file is, and it's just dragging the speed down. So we want to make sure that you're doing everything you can. Now, 2 resources I have for you that you can see what your speed is. You can go to developers.google.com/speed, or another one I like to use is gtmetrics.com. Those are both, they're free. I think they still are free. Definitely the Google one is. And you just put in your website and they're going to grade you of what your speed is. And they're also going to identify ways that you can improve your speed. Okay, I see some questions coming in, so I'm going to pause right here just to address them here. So let's see here. Patrick, oh, you're looking for my slides. If you email me and say, Fern, I want the slides, I will send them to you. Don't worry, you can have these. Mackenzie says, let's see here. How does a chat button work? Best plugin for a chat button on WordPress. Does the chat button send text directly to you? I do like web chat. I'm going to talk about web chat in a second. So Mackenzie, I'm going to hold off on that. And if I don't completely answer your question, just remind me when I go through the chat section, but that is important. I'll talk about that. Courtney says, what's the best domain hosting to use? So there's two different things, where you have your domain and where you host. They don't have to be the same place. You can buy your domain from one company and host it somewhere else. That's totally cool. Doesn't matter where the domain is. You can buy your domain anywhere. That's not going to affect anything. It's where your site is hosted is the most important. I'm not terribly sure which ones are the best. I know which ones are not good, and GoDaddy is typically the notorious. The best way to do it, and I don't like to pick on any company because it could be a number of different factors why a site is loading slow. I would just do the speed test, see what it tells you, and then work from there. Okay, perfect. All right, let's go back to it. All right, the other thing your website needs to have is social proof. All right, social proof is just basically reviews, other people saying how great you are. So it's nice that your website, and you can say, yeah, we're awesome, we do this great, we do this great. However, it's even more powerful if you have an impartial third party giving you a thumbs up. So it's very important. You should be working really hard to get a lot of reviews on Google. What we can do is repurpose those onto your website, right? So they polled people, and they said people trust reviews as much as if it was a trusted friend. All right, and think about you guys. When you go to Amazon, I know what I do. I go right to the reviews. I don't even really read the product description. I say, oh, I need one of these. And I go right to the reviews and I start reading it because those are real people using the product. Amazon, we can blame for that. They've made reviews more and more important and relevant. So it's important to put those on your site. So highlight reviews on your site. Now, I don't particularly like a dedicated testimonial page because I think, why are people coming to your site? They're usually not coming there to see your reviews, okay? And they may never go there. And I think most testimonial pages will probably be the least visited page on a website if you look at the analytics. So I like to sprinkle testimonials throughout the website so that everywhere people are going, they may be looking at your homepage and then go, let's check out the daycare page. Everywhere they go, they're going to bump into a review. So a lot of people saying, hey, these guys are great. These guys are awesome. Even if they're not physically reading all of them, subconsciously, all those reviews are being noticed. And it's just, again, the social proof saying that this business is good. And I definitely like to put reviews around pricing. All right. So wherever you have your pricing listed on your website, it's good to put a couple reviews, because even if, let's say, they get there and like, wow, they're pretty expensive, but you have all these reviews around it saying these guys are so awesome and everything, they're gonna be like, wow, well, all these other people are paying these prices. I guess they are worth it, So I like to definitely have some reviews around your pricing. Okay, here's a big one. Maybe it's one of my pet peeves, but I think this is very important, to have real images from your resort, okay? You need to limit stock photos as little as possible. I want you to, and if you're just starting out, you have a brand new business, sure, you don't have a lot of pictures, you don't have dogs in there yet, you're going to have to rely on stock footage in the beginning. Everyone can spot a stock photo a mile away. You're not fooling anybody by pretending maybe it's a real image. Everyone can see them, and the problem is all these stock images have been so overused, we've seen them all before. So it all of a sudden makes your site not very unique or special. So you want to immediately start putting real images in your page, all right? So showcase your services in action, okay? Because we want people to picture their dog in the photos. Okay, they're wondering, I don't know what this place is like. If you can show them exactly what the environment's like, exactly what's happening. We show dogs having fun in daycare. They're going to be like, oh, I can see my guy running around there. Oh, I understand this. I don't have to worry about what the boarding suites look like. I can see everything right now. I know exactly where my little guy is going to be. This is more critical for a pet business because, this is people's little furry baby, all right? They want to feel comfortable. You have to have a level of trust before someone's going to let you watch them. Your website can build that trust for you. And because a lot of our daycare yards and stuff are away from the public, like they don't get to go back there and see those things, the more transparent you can be and the more you can showcase what goes on, the better they're going to feel about, what's going to happen. Let's see. Is my slide backwards? You mean one of these pooches? I don't know. I don't think so. Maybe. Look, you mean the whole slide, or maybe just the I don't know. Maybe you got some wacky thing on your internet. All right. That's so we want to let them picture their dog in these facilities in your using your services. Okay, so we talked about web chat, which we're going to talk about in a second, but they have to be able to easily get in touch with you. All right. A lot of people are like, I don't want, I don't want people, they don't want to be bothered. Like, so they're trying, sometimes they make it hard for people to, reach out to them and call them or come on, these are customers. You want to make it as easy for them as possible to do business with you. So you want to make sure your contact information should be easy. I like to have it in the footer of every page. It's also good for SEO to have your, name, phone number, address, and everything, how to contact you on every page. So I think that's very important. Web chat is by far the best thing I could probably recommend to you. So the first thing we do when we get a client at Overdog who does one of our main services or our marketing packages, we put a little web chat just like this. Here's one of our clients now, just like this on the footer, on the right-hand corner there. Just by doing that, you will greatly increase the amount of inquiries you get from organic traffic because people are way more likely to chat something than they will be to call or email you, right? And remember, most people are on a phone. They're on the go, all right? They may not have the time to sit there and call you, or they may be on a bus or something. They're not going to take the time to fill out a web form, but a chat is like a text. We live in a text world here. So text message marketing is the number one way to get people to follow up with you and to respond to you. So you want to make it easy. So here's the way web chat, we'll talk about web chat, and I think I have another slide with it as well. But what we're trying to do is we want people to reach out. We want them to ask questions. We want their inquiries. We want to be able to take care of them. So we want to make it super easy for them to get in touch with you. All right, so let's do some examples of some sites here. So here's one that I designed for one of our longest clients, Noah's Ark, and they are in Oregon. So a couple things I want you to note is number one, super simple menu structure. All right. And they have a drop down for services that they can, look at boarding, daycare, grooming. This is very clear. It's very easy to see what's here and where we need to go. All right. I like using a lot of contrast. All right. We talk about making it easy, simple and easy. We want to lead the viewer. If you have contrast, that dark with white or light colors, it helps the content pop and it gives the eye somewhere to go. All right. So as you look at this page real quickly, you're kind of drawn to the top header that says Noah's Ark with those cute little animals because of the contrast down there. If the whole page was the same color brown, it wouldn't pop there and your eye wouldn't be immediately drawn there. So you want to use contrast as much as you can to help the eye go where you want it to go. And we have the web chat feature right there. And so maybe I can't remember if I have another thing about web chat. So let me just talk a little bit more about web chat now, is that web chat, for it to be effective, has to be a text. It cannot go to your email. So if you have a web chat that then sends you an email and then you have to email them back, that defeats the purpose of web chat. First of all, email has about a 20% open rate if you're lucky. Text has a 95% open rate. And this is designed for web chat. Even if it's not live web chat, that's fine, but you need to be responding to them in the medium that they have reached out to you. So if they reach out to you in an email, yeah, obviously you should email them back. If they call you, I would call them back. If they chat, I would text them back. All right. Always keep in the medium that they have started. They've chosen that. They prefer that, obviously. That's going to increase the amount of conversions you get off that. So that's one thing I see about web chat. And that may require, it usually requires extra software or something for that to be able to do that texting right from the web chat. But it is well worth it because we see inquiries every day come in through the web chat for our clients. Okay, ZenDog, another one of our longtime clients. Here's another site that I designed. So thing you want to know. So call to the action. Okay, what do we want them to do? All right. Call to actions are really important for return visitors because someone who's just coming, they may not be ready to take action right now. So that's not as important. But as they return and visit your site a second time, that call to action comes important. So we're asking them to do something. This is if you scroll farther down that page past that Beagle header. Well, first thing you see is the services, okay? Because I'm like, what is someone looking for? Again, why did they come to your site? They're coming because they're searching for something. So very quickly, I need them to find what they were probably searching for. So in this case, it's probably training or boarding, which is what ZenDog does. They're focused on training, but they do some boarding as well. So I want right away for them to find that information. And this is like the footer I told you about. So this is on every page. You have all of the basic information as well as links to some social profiles, how they can reach out and contact. So no matter what page they're on, it's super easy for them to reach out. And of course, we got the website on the whole website. Here's another one we did. The other page, one of the pages that I think is critical for you is an about page. All right. The reason why I think that's so important is, again, remember, we're taking someone's little furry baby, all right? They need to trust us to give us the responsibility of that. The way they do that is to know about you, all right? People do business with people. They don't do business with businesses. So if you are a faceless business, you're losing the emotional appeal, and someone's dog is emotional. So we need them to know who you are. I want them to put a face to the business. All right. So I want them to think they're not giving their dog to XYZ dog daycare. They're giving it to you. All right. Whatever your name is, that's who they're entrusting it to, because you are the face of this business. So I encourage you to put yourself, and in that, you're going to tell your story. Okay, how did you pick this job? Not most people are not just doing it for the money. All right, we're in this because we love taking care of dogs, and we probably have a story of how we had a bad experience with one, and you decided that this is going to be, you're going to change that, and you're going to create a place that you want to go. Tell that story. Okay, that message is going to resonate with someone, and if you can make an emotional connection, they're yours. People make decisions emotionally, not analytically. Sometimes they do, but emotional is the biggest driver. So if they get to know you and hear your story, they're going to be more emotionally attached to you. Then we can talk about your team. But also, you see here, we have some testimonials. As I said, peppered around every page. I like having some testimonials. But we also want to meet the team. Who are the people that are going to be taking care of their dog? Now, we have a lot of turnover. This is a business with a lot of turnover in in your entry-level position. So you may not list every single person, but maybe a group shot, or maybe your leads, might be here talking about your managers and stuff. Let them get to know who is going to be watching their dog. All right. So put your staff in there as well, or at least some information about, your staff generally. So all that, I want you to say, what kind of impression is your business making online today, right now? So do me a favor, in the chat, if you had to now try to be neutral on your site right now today, given everything you heard, your existing site, rate it 1 to 10. 1 being this needs a lot of work. 10, I'm crushing it. This is awesome. We need to change nothing. Just want to get your own opinion. No judgment here. All right. Just want to see kind of where you're sitting now. All right. We see some 6, 7s, 2, 8. All right. Yeah, you guys are all over the place. 8.5. Good. All right. Yeah. You see, there's a wide variety, and that's going to be normal. All right. And what you'll see here, let me just scroll here. Let me see. What we do see here, no 10s, right? No 10s, right? Because it's never perfect, all right? So everyone's a work in progress. So don't, whatever you put as your number, don't beat yourself up. Don't, just know we're all trying to do our best. Celeste, yeah, I see you said you were a 2, I think. So yeah, we got some work to do. So we may need to talk. All right. So you want to give that honest assessment. And then if you rated yourself as maybe not so good, question is, what are you going to do about it? Are you just going to sit on it and what we don't know won't hurt us, or do we need to take action? I always say there's a lot of things in your business that are going to require your time and your money. You need to prioritize. I believe that your website is one of the most important assets for your business. So I believe in investing in your website because that is usually the first point of contact for most people. Is they hear about you, okay, let me go check them out. Or they do a Google search, let me go check them out. That's where they're going to do their first form of research. The internet has made research very easy and very common. So people are going to do research. We want to make sure you are controlling that narrative of what they're seeing in there. So I do think it is well worth making sure. I mean, COVID sped us up like crazy, but we're headed to a very digital society. So we want to make sure that you're showcasing your business correctly there. All right. I'm going to take any questions that you guys have, but I promised you guys a special deal for you guys for sitting in here. So we do website design all the time. So I don't really design the websites. So like a lot of this, all the sites that I showed you at the end were ones that I designed, except the Fur Kids ones. That's one of our new ones. We hired a full-time web designer who is way better at it than me, and she handles all of our websites. We make sure all our websites are fully responsive, customized for every device size. We do everything on WordPress. I mentioned I'm not a huge fan of like Squarespace and Wix. Those are okay for hobby businesses, all right? There's a reason that big businesses don't use, Squarespace. It's because it's very limiting, especially for SEO. They're horribly set up for SEO. So WordPress is the most common website builder on planet Earth. I think like 30-something% of all websites are built on it, including large companies like Coca-Cola. And the cool thing is nobody owns WordPress. It's what's called open source. So if Squarespace goes out of business tomorrow, your site is gone. Like you'll never see it again. But WordPress is open source, which means you can use any host. You can host it anywhere. And if you don't like one host, you take your website with you. If you don't like Wix, you can't bring your website to another host. It's stuck on Wix. So WordPress gives you flexibility to take it with you. You own it no matter what. As again, it's set up for SEO out of the box. You still, if you want to really do good at SEO, you're going to have to do some stuff, but it's already set for Google spiders to kind of find it. We use a premium theme. What that means is we're going to be able to create any kind of look you could possibly imagine and create a lot of functionality in your site. We also host if you want to do hosting, which includes if you host with us, you can have free emails, branded emails, as well as we will edit and make corrections for you, anytime you need stuff. All right. So how much does it cost? Normally our websites cost $2,500, but for you guys on the webinar, I will give you $300 off, and will be $2,200 for the full website. We're only going to do this for 2 people though. Okay. Because we are fairly busy, and so this offer is like for the first 2 people who are interested. If you are interested, in the chat, just put your email in there, and if your name is not on your profile there, just type in your name there too, and Ashley is going to grab your info and reach out to you. And then what we'll do is we'll set up a conversation where someone on my team can talk to you about your website and get all the specifics about what you're looking for, and then we'll start the design process. All right, now let's do some questions. All right, did I skip any questions? What questions do you have about your website? I'm here to answer anything you want. All right, here we go. All right, Caprice, you're torn on listing your pricing online without people signing up through my software. Also, clueless how to do SEO. Started doing a blog, but not sure how, currently using Wix. All right, so I am a big fan of saying you should have your pricing on your website. I am adamant about that, because this is how, if you have to sell people on your services, if you want them to call because you have to sell them, tells me your website is not doing its job. Your website should be selling. If your website's done, if you want to charge a lot of money, your website should show that. Okay, it should position you as an authority. And the thing is, if someone has a question, okay, they're like, I need dog boarding. All right, they're going to look, and they're going to look at a bunch of businesses. They're going to try to answer their questions and get their problem solved as soon as possible. If they find another business that lists their prices and answers all their questions, Why should I go on and call another company and give myself more work when this one looks fine? This is everything I need. And they're going to go to that company. So I strongly believe that you should have your pricing. I'm all about full transparency anywhere. Unless I should say the difference is if you're doing a very high ticket item. All right. If you're doing really high ticket, like what you sell is a couple $1,000s or something, that may require a conversation to make sure they adequately understand all the features and benefits that it goes to them. But under that, I think you should have your sites on there. So let's see, I answered that. SEO is very complex. So I will probably tell you, don't try to do, SEO by yourself, because I know a little about SEO, but I'm lost with SEO. I had to hire a team to do it for me because it is very complex in the back end, very technical. So what I mean by WordPress is set up for SEO is the structure is already there, and it is set up. It sets up the page structure that when Google's little spiders go and they're looking to index pages, they are able to find it. Whereas some of the other ones are not really set up well for Google to find it. So that's what I mean by that. So, and doing regular content, writing blog posts based on search keywords and stuff is a good way to do it. But it is a complex site. And I think you guys probably should focus on what, prioritize what only you need to do and outsource some of that stuff. All right. Let's see here. We're working with another company, okay, right now, and they're recommending pretty significant changes to your pricing. That seems overly complicated. Breaking down to 4 different categories, having 4 different tiers. Yeah, I'm always leery. And they've done tons of studies on pricing and stuff, and you could just Google that, and you'll see it always comes down to what's the best is 3 options. 3 options is the best to have. When you have more than that, it gets a little tricky, and then you get indecision. And what I want you to do is start when you're going to sites and you're looking for things that you're looking for. Look at how many pricing options and see how you feel with it. Is it easy? Are you confused? Is it overwhelming? Kind of see how you feel when it's not your business. But yeah, I really don't think I really like to keep things as simple as possible. Do I have any recommendations? Yeah. I mean, it's tough, and again, a lot of this is my personal opinion, but it is backed on a lot of data that is out there. Like I said, you could just search this online about psychology of too many choices and stuff and pricing and choices, and you'll see a lot of this come up. Yeah, like I'm against the zero pricing online unless you're doing super high ticket, a couple $1,000s. So if you're selling a dog training program that's $2,000 or something, I may want to talk to them to make sure they're the right fit, or maybe I have to talk to them to make sure we have the right training staff for that and everything. Then I might need a conversation. Boarding, daycare, let them see all those pricing. Even regular training I would have just on your website. Make it, I always say, you want to remove the friction in the sales process. The more steps you make people take, the harder you make it for them to give you money, the less sales you're going to have every single time. Especially in a very impatient, fast, especially online, you can get information really quickly and people are looking for it very quickly. So we want to make sure we're answering their questions really quick. How much money for a website audit? I don't, the website audits usually I've done for my clients for free. I have to think about that. Lauren, email me and we can talk about that. I haven't really done them for too much. Not much though. We'll just email me and we'll figure that out, and I'll take a look at your site. And typically what I do when I do them is I just record my screen as I'm just looking through, as I go through the site, and kind of just give you my impression. The thing is, a lot of this is my opinion, okay? My opinion based on doing this for, a number of years and the research I've done. So is my way the only way? Absolutely not, all right? You got to figure out what's right for you and what makes sense for your business, all right? Perfect. Any more questions? So let me just stop that here so I can see you guys again. All right. Any questions on any of that? I know that's kind of a lot to think about. But I do think that it is super important to you to focus on that website, to making sure it is giving the impression that your website deserves. I mean, that your business deserves, all right? Because I don't want people to stop your website and never really get to encounter the awesome services that you provide and the good stuff that you can do. So look at your website and start small. Make little changes over time. You don't have to do a complete redesign or overhaul. You can just take one chunk at a time and just say, okay, we're going to focus on just how can we improve the homepage? All right, or we're just going to start an about page. Let's do that and take it in bite-sized chunks. If you need help, like I said, reach out to us and we can help you, or at least have a conversation to see if you would be a good fit for our services. All right, well, guys, thank you so much for sitting in. It's always a fun chatting with you. Just remember, if there's some topic you want me to cover on a podcast, on a webinar, whatever, tell me. All right. If I can do it, I will do it for you. So just please reach out. And if you want more guidance, our Inner Circle group coaching program, we meet twice a month and we collaborate and discuss and troubleshoot all different kinds of things. So it's a cool group. We would love to have you. Go to the Overdog Digital website and you can get information on that. But that might be a good place to actually people to start to get a little more personal help from us. But have a great rest of the day, guys. And I'll see you soon. All right. And anybody going to IBPSA? All right. If you're going to the conference, I'm doing the keynote, the first talk on Tuesday. Make sure you come say hi. All right. I'll be looking for you. All right, guys. Take care.